So, I'm seeing a lot of different looking worms around. What are these?
These are the classes which we've introduced into Worms Revolution. We needed to evolve the gameplay some more, and we thought, why not change the actual core worm itself? We've had the same worm for about 15 years now, so we thought, why not make it a bit different? So we've changed his actual physical size. So we've got these various new classes, which we've got 4 of. There's the Scout, there's the Soldier, Scientist and the Heavy. We work with Tom Gluckman on the concept artist stuff. He's the famous Worms artist and stuff. His humour was a bit risky, so we had to vet a lot of his stuff that we got, but in the end we nailed down some awesome classes and stuff. Soldier is the first class. He's the all-rounder. He's the worm that you'll recognise from previous versions of Worms. He walks and jumps just as you expect. He does damage as you expect it to be. So he's the default guy who you start with when you start playing Worms Revolution. Then you've got the Scout worm. He's the little cute fella. He's a Scout worm. He's the sort of worm that you trust to look after your cat for a fortnight while you went on holiday to Ossett. He's very nimble. He's a Scout. He can also jump a very long way as well. Downside of the nimbleness is that he can take a real kicking by other worms. If the Heavy hits him with a baseball bat, he'll go flying, so a bit of a downside of the Scout. But a cool thing with his size is that because he's so small, when he digs a blowtorch tunnel, they're very, very tiny. So the other worms, Heavy, Soldier, Scientist, they can't get down there, so very cool to hide the Scout away down there. There's the Scientist worm. He's the brains behind the brawn. You'll recognise the Scientist because he's got a huge big head. That head's full of brains, so we're here, it's not some cranial dysfunction going on in there. And he's the support class for the team. At the start of the turn with the Scientist, each worm on that team gets 5 health, which is a real bonus, and he also does things like the sentry gun, electromagnets, which he creates, are far more powerful as well. So a very good support class to the rest of the team. But the downside is he's not a frontline fighter. With the Scientist, we find get him dug away somewhere, out of harm's way, and he'll support from the back of the Scientist. Lastly, we've got the Heavy worm. He's the giant looking, mean looking worm from the artwork which is out there. We actually got some local nightclub bouncing to some motion capture, so we think he's a realistic gripper that we've got there. With the Heavy worm, he's very slow. He doesn't go up slopes very well, he can't jump very far. Even with the jetpack, he doesn't move very well, but the flip side of that is he's really, really powerful. He can take a punch and he can give a punch back, so he's the sort of class who people like to fight toe-to-toe in Worms are going to love the Heavy class. And something which we've got for Worms Revolution is actual physical damage on the worms themselves. Usually worms can go 12 rounds and they don't bat an eyelid, but now in Worms Revolution they've now got black eyes, they can have missing teeth, they can have bandages. It's funny, but at the same time it's a bit tragic, so you kind of realise what these worms are going through and stuff, so it does shed a tear to your eye while being funny at the same time.
If I want to dress up before war, what customisation elements are available?
One of the things we've got more of is hats in Worms Revolution. We know people love hats, so we've got the usual selection of military style hats like the World War II helmet. If you want to dress your worm up military, serious style, then you can do that. As well as the serious ones, we've got comedy ones in there, such as we've got wigs and stuff, particular pop style wigs where once they're on a worm I do find it pretty hot actually, so a bit of something there for everyone. As well as the hats, we've also got new gravestones and we've also got new victory dancers, forts and other things. Something which we revamped for Revolution is the speech bank system. Before we had one sample pretty much for each one action in the game, but now, because you kind of get sick of hearing the same sample again and again, after 15 years of hearing a worm say, look at that, it's kind of got to us a bit now, so we've fixed that problem. And now you've got the bucket system in place where there's multiple samples for each one action in the game, so you never get bored of the worm saying the same thing over and over again. And we're very proud of the bucket system as well. Also for Worms Revolution we've got trinkets now as a customisable option where the worm takes these into battle. They don't really bring anything to the gameplay as such, they're just things that worms get out and play with while they're bored. For example, worm can get out a particular handheld console device. Actually no, it can't for legal reasons, we took that out of the game. So now it gets out a teddy bear, it gets out a football and it'll play with these while the action's going and wait for its own turn. So they don't bring anything to the party, they just look funny when worms are playing with them.